"Can we help them?" the human asked. I agreed without a second thought. Jack Miller stood at the edge of the landing platform, his eyes scanning the strange landscape that stretched before him. The planet was colder than he expected. The sky was a dull gray, and faint, dim lights shimmered among the twisted trees and rocks. He could feel a chill in his bones, but he ignored it. His focus was on the mission. The human crew of the exploration ship had been sent here to study the planet, but the readings they had received suggested something unusual. That had drawn them here. Lily Bennett, the team's scientist, adjusted her gear and walked beside him. She was always curious, always asking questions, always looking for something new to discover. "Jack," she said softly, her voice full of wonder, "look at that. Do you see the lights near those rocks? They don't look natural." She pointed to a cluster of faintly glowing spots. Jack nodded. "I see them. Let's be careful. We don't know what is out there. It could be dangerous." Ethan Clark, the engineer, joined them. His steps were steady and cautious. He always thought about safety first. "I think we should scan the area before moving closer," he said. He pulled a small scanner from his pack and waved it over the glowing spots. The device beeped and blinked, giving readings that were hard to understand. "They are small creatures, but I don't know what kind. Nothing I've seen before." Ava Johnson, the pilot, came running over. She had a confident smile, the kind that made people feel safer even when danger was near. "What's happening?" she asked. She glanced around. The wind was picking up, making the trees sway. "We need to move carefully. The terrain looks unstable." The group moved forward slowly, keeping an eye on the glowing spots. As they approached, they could see small creatures trapped under fallen rocks. The creatures were tiny, about the size of a small dog, with thin limbs and translucent skin that faintly glowed. Their eyes were large and dark, looking up at the humans with a mixture of fear and pain. Lily's heart sank. She knelt beside one of the creatures, brushing dust from its body. "They are alive," she whispered. "We have to help them." Jack looked at her and nodded. "Yes." "Can we move the rocks safely?" Ethan examined the area. The rocks were heavy, but with careful effort they could lift them without harming the creatures. "We can do it," he said. "It will take time, but it is possible." Lily turned to Jack and asked, "Can we help them?" Her voice was soft but full of hope. Jack did not hesitate. "I agree, we should help them, no second thoughts." The team worked together, lifting rocks carefully, making sure no creature was hurt. They created small, safe areas where the creatures could move without danger. Each creature that was freed made a small chirping sound, as if it were thanking the humans. As the work continued, the humans began to notice more about the planet. The ground was uneven, covered with sharp stones and strange plants. Some of the plants had glowing leaves, and their colors changed when touched. The wind carried a strange smell, like metal mixed with wet earth. Jack looked around and saw movement in the distance. "Be careful," he warned. "We are not alone here." The team moved cautiously. As they approached a small hill, they found a group of creatures huddled together. They were weak and some were shaking. Lily knelt beside them. "They must have been trapped for a long time," she said. "Look at their wounds. We need to help them heal." Ethan opened his pack and pulled out some portable medical supplies. They were designed for humans, but he hoped they could help the creatures at least a little. He carefully cleaned the wounds and applied healing patches. The creatures seemed to relax under the touch, their glowing skin pulsing gently. Ava watched from a distance. "Jack, what if more come? What if this is just the beginning?" Jack thought for a moment. "Then we deal with it. We can't leave them like this. Humans have to help when we can." As the day passed, the humans continued their work. They made shelters from the rocks and plants, small safe areas where the creatures could rest. They collected water from nearby streams and found edible plants for the creatures. Lily was amazed at how quickly they seemed to respond to care. Their wounds healed faster than expected, and they began moving with more energy. Jack noticed that some of the creatures were starting to follow the humans. They moved slowly at first, watching carefully, but their curiosity was clear. They seemed to understand that the humans were not a threat. Lily smiled. "They are learning from us. Maybe they understand we are trying to help." Ethan laughed softly. "Or maybe they just like us. They are small but clever." The sky began to darken as the planet's sun set. The gray sky turned a deep blue, and the faint lights in the trees glowed brighter. The creatures huddled in the shelters, safe for now. The humans gathered around a small fire they had made, warming themselves and talking quietly. Jack looked at the team. "We did a good job today, but this is just the beginning. There are more of them out there. We need to be ready." Lily nodded. We can help them. We will keep trying, that is what humans do, Ethan added, and we can learn from them too. This planet is full of surprises. We have to be careful, but we can do it together. Ava leaned back, looking at the glowing creatures nearby. I have a feeling this is going to be more than a mission. This might change us. Humans helping others, even on a planet far away, that is something special. The team sat quietly for a while, watching the creatures. Some were exploring the small shelters, others were resting. The humans felt a connection forming. It was a bond that did not need words. During the night, strange sounds echoed through the forest. The creatures stirred, alert but calm. Jack kept watch, feeling a sense of responsibility. They were not alone in this place, and danger could come at any moment. But he also felt hope. Humans had the ability to make a difference, even in a harsh and strange world. The next morning, the team continued their work. They explored further, finding more injured creatures and helping them. They mapped the terrain, finding safe areas and resources. They built stronger shelters and learned which plants could be used for food or medicine. Lily discovered that the creatures reacted positively to warmth and light. She designed small, portable heaters and lights using parts from their ship. The creatures gathered around them, feeling comforted. Ethan repaired some of the ship's equipment to make the work easier. He was careful not to damage the planet or scare the creatures. Ava flew a small drone to scout the area from above, finding more creatures that needed help. Jack organized the team, making sure everyone had a task. We are a team, he said. Humans working together can do things that no one can do alone. That is what we need to remember. As the days passed, the humans and creatures developed a rhythm. The creatures began to follow simple commands, responding to gestures and sounds. They were intelligent in ways that surprised the humans. Jack realized that these creatures had survived on their own for a long time, showing resilience that humans could admire. One day, while exploring a small canyon, Jack spotted something unusual. A larger creature, different from the others, was lying injured. Its body was twisted and it could not move. Jack ran forward, followed by Lily and Ethan. They carefully lifted the creature and brought it to a safe area. Lily examined it. This one is older, maybe a leader, she said. If we can help it, the others might learn from it. They might follow its example. Ethan nodded. We have the skills, we just have to be careful. Ava watched the other creatures gather around, looking concerned. They care for each other, we have to respect that. Our help is only useful if we understand them. Jack nodded. Then we stay patient, we help them, that is all we can do. The humans worked late into the night. They healed the larger creature, keeping it warm and fed. Slowly it began to respond, its eyes opening and following the humans with awareness. The other creatures chirped and glowed as if celebrating. Jack looked at Lily. This is just the start, he said. There is more out there, more creatures, more challenges. But humans can do this. We can help them and we can make a difference. Lily smiled. And we will, that is why we are here. Ethan added, this planet is strange, but we can survive here and so can they. Humans know how to adapt, that is what sets us apart. Ava laughed softly. And humans care, that is even more important. The night passed quietly. The creatures slept in the shelters, safe for the first time in many days. The humans kept watch, their hearts full of hope and determination. Jack looked up at the dimly glowing sky. Tomorrow we explore more, we find more creatures, we help them. Humans can do great things even far from home. Lily nodded. Yes, and maybe, just maybe, we will learn something too, about them, about us, about what it means to help. The first part of the mission was complete, but the journey had only begun. The humans and the creatures had found each other, and a bond was forming. A bond built on care, courage, and understanding. And in that moment, Jack knew that no matter what came next, humans would not turn away. The morning sun rose weakly over the cold planet, casting long shadows between the twisted trees. Jack Miller adjusted his jacket against the chill and looked at the shelters they had built. The creatures were moving about, exploring cautiously, their small glowing bodies flickering in the light. Jack felt a mix of pride and worry. They had done well so far, but the planet was still unpredictable, and danger was never far away. Lily Bennett was checking the creatures, making sure none of them were sick or injured. She moved slowly, letting them get used to her presence. They seem stronger today, she said softly. The heat and the food are helping, but we need to keep watch. The storms here can be sudden. Ethan Clark was already busy repairing a small solar generator that powered their lights and heaters. If a storm comes, we need energy to keep the shelters safe, he said. I don't trust this planet to stay calm for long. Ava Johnson prepared the drone for another flight. I'll scout the area today. We need to see if there are more creatures or hazards nearby, she said. She adjusted the controls and sent the small machine into the sky. It zipped through the trees, its lights bright against the dim landscape. Jack gathered the team. We need to split tasks. Lily, continue monitoring the creatures. Ethan, make sure our shelters and equipment are secure. Ava, scout the surroundings. I'll explore the nearby canyon and check for danger. We have to be ready for anything. As the drone flew, Ava noticed movement far in the distance. She zoomed in and saw a group of larger creatures, different from the ones they had rescued. They were stronger and moved with purpose, but something was wrong. Some of them limped and others seemed to carry injuries. Ava called Jack over. Jack, look at this, she said, pointing to the screen. More creatures, but they are hurt. We might need to help them too. Jack frowned. We will. That is what we came here for. Let's move carefully and make sure we don't scare them. The humans prepared their equipment and set out toward the distant group. As they walked, the terrain grew more dangerous. The ground was uneven, and loose rocks made every step a challenge. Strange plants brushed against their legs, some with soft leaves, others with thin, sharp edges. The wind carried a strange sound, like a low hum that made Jack's skin tingle. When they reached the group, they found the creatures trapped in a shallow ravine. A small rock slide had blocked the exit, leaving them isolated. The creatures chirped and glowed faintly, looking at the humans with hope and fear. Lily stepped forward. We can help them, she said. We have to be careful, but it is possible. Ethan examined the rocks. These are heavier than before, but we can lift them slowly. We need to coordinate. Jack nodded. Everyone ready on my count. They worked together, lifting rocks and clearing the path. The creatures responded, moving carefully as the humans made space. Some of them tried to help, nudging smaller stones with their limbs. Jack watched in amazement. Even in their weak state, they were trying to participate. Once the creatures were free, the humans guided them to a safer area they had prepared. Lily checked their wounds and gave them food and water. The creatures responded with small chirps, and some even touched her hand gently, as if saying thank you. But their relief was short-lived. The sky darkened suddenly, and strong winds swept through the area. The trees bent, and rocks tumbled down the slopes. Jack shouted, "Everyone, shelters now!" The humans and creatures ran toward the protective shelters. Ethan helped carry injured creatures, while Ava guided the others with a small light. Jack moved quickly, checking that no one was left behind. The storm was fierce, with cold wind cutting through their jackets and rain starting to fall. Inside the shelters, they huddled together. The creatures were frightened, their glowing bodies flickering rapidly. Lily spoke softly to them, her voice calm. "It's okay, we are here." "You are safe now." Ethan checked the generators. "We have power, the heaters are working, we will get through this." Jack looked at the team. "This is just the start. We knew it would be dangerous. We have to stay strong and work together." Hours passed and the storm slowly died down. The rain stopped and the wind weakened. Outside, the planet was wet and muddy but quiet. The humans and creatures emerged from the shelters. Some of the creatures were exploring the area cautiously, their glowing bodies lighting the ground. Lily knelt to examine them. "They are stronger than I expected," she said. "The storm did not hurt them too much. Humans are helping, but they also have their own resilience." Jack smiled. "We can do this, we just have to keep helping and keep learning." Ava flew the drone again, checking the wider area. She spotted another small group of creatures on the other side of the canyon. Some were hiding and a few were injured. "Jack, more of them," she said. "We should move carefully," Jack agreed. "Yes, let's not scare them. We go slowly and show we are friendly." As they moved, the humans noticed something remarkable. The creatures were starting to mimic their actions. When Jack raised his hand, a few of the creatures lifted their limbs too. When Lily touched the ground gently, some creatures did the same. They were learning, observing, and responding. Lily whispered, "They are intelligent. They understand more than we thought." "They are watching us, learning from us." Ethan laughed softly. "Well, that is encouraging. Maybe we can teach them some things and they can teach us too." But danger was never far away. While exploring the canyon, Jack spotted signs of an unstable slope. Rocks had shifted and could fall at any moment. He called the team. "Careful, we have a risk of a landslide." Ethan and Ava helped guide the creatures away from danger. Lily held one of the smaller creatures close, comforting it as they moved. The slope trembled and small rocks tumbled down. The team moved quickly, leading the creatures to safety just as a larger rock slid past them. Jack exhaled deeply. That was too close. We have to be more careful. This planet is dangerous, but we can manage if we stay alert. They continued exploring, finding a small stream with clean water and edible plants. The creatures drank eagerly, and some began playing in the water, their glowing bodies reflected in the ripples. Jack smiled. Even in danger, life finds a way. Lily collected samples of the plants, examining them. These might be useful for the creatures' diet, she said. We need to make sure they have proper food and water. That will help them recover faster. Ethan built small devices to purify water and distribute it to the shelters. Ava guided more creatures to safe zones, using gentle gestures and lights to encourage them. Jack coordinated everything, making sure the team worked as one. As night fell, the creatures gathered around the humans. Some rested, others chirped softly, and a few touched the humans gently. Jack felt a connection forming, a bond built on trust and care. Lily looked at him. They trust us now, but we need to stay vigilant. Tomorrow could bring new challenges, Jack nodded. We are ready. Humans are capable of helping and protecting even in a strange place. That is what we do. The team spent the night keeping watch, listening to the sounds of the planet. Strange noises echoed through the trees, but the humans were calm. They had faced danger and helped the creatures survive. That gave them confidence. In the quiet moments, Jack reflected on what they were doing. This was more than a mission. It was about compassion, courage, and the willingness to act when others could not. Humans had the ability to make a difference, even in a world far from home. The next day, the storm had left the land wet and slippery. The team adjusted their movements, careful not to slip. They discovered a cave nearby which could provide shelter from future storms. Inside, they found ancient markings on the walls. Lily examined them closely. These are symbols, she said. Maybe this planet had a civilization before. These creatures might be descendants. Ethan looked around. If so, they survived something big. That makes their resilience even more impressive. Ava added, we need to protect them. Humans can help, but we also need to understand. Jack agreed. We help them survive, and in return we learn. That is the way forward. Over the next few days, the team continued their work. They explored the cave, made stronger shelters, and discovered more creatures in need of help. Some were afraid, but with patience and care, they began to trust the humans. The bond between humans and creatures grew stronger. The creatures began to follow simple commands, respond to gestures, and even show signs of affection. Jack realized that this was what made humans unique, their ability to care, adapt, and work together. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned deep blue, the team gathered around the shelters. The creatures glowed softly around them, calm and peaceful. Jack looked at Lily, Ethan, and Ava. We did well, he said, but the planet is still dangerous. We need to stay ready. We help when we can, and we survive together, Lily nodded. They are learning from us, and we are learning from them. This is only the beginning, Ethan smiled. And humans never give up. That is what matters, Ava laughed softly. Even on a strange planet far from home, humans can make a difference. That is something special. Jack looked at the glowing creatures and the darkening sky. Tomorrow, we continue. We find more, help more, and face whatever comes. That is what humans do. We help when others cannot. And in that moment, under the strange sky of the distant planet, the humans and the creatures shared a bond of trust, hope, and determination. A bond that would guide them through challenges yet to come. The day began quietly on the cold planet. The storm from the previous days had left the ground wet and slippery, but the creatures were calmer now. They moved around the shelters, exploring slowly and glowing softly. Jack Miller watched them with satisfaction. Their wounds had mostly healed, and they seemed stronger. But he knew the planet could change suddenly, and they had to stay alert. Lily Bennett was busy examining the creatures. She had made notes on their behavior and health, and she was learning quickly. Jack, she said, these creatures are more intelligent than we thought. Look at how they respond to gestures and sounds. They are observing us, learning from us. Jack nodded. Yes, that makes our job even more important. We need to help them, and we need to understand them. Humans can make a difference when we act with care and thought. Ethan Clark was repairing some of the shelters. The storm had damaged a few of them, and he was making them stronger. If another storm comes, they need protection, he said. We have to be prepared. Ava Johnson prepared the drone for a longer flight. I want to scout beyond the canyon today, she said. We need to see if there are more creatures and if there are hazards we do not know about yet. She flew the small machine into the sky, and it moved quickly over the twisted landscape, sending back images to the team. As they waited for the drone's report, a strange energy signal appeared on their instruments. Jack frowned. That is unusual. It is faint, but it is definitely there. It seems to come from a cluster of rocks to the north. Lily looked at the readings. Could it be a natural source, or maybe another group of creatures? Jack shook his head. We need to find out. Let's go carefully and see what it is. The team packed their supplies and moved toward the signal. The terrain became more difficult. Sharp rocks and uneven ground slowed them down, but they moved carefully, keeping the creatures nearby. The creatures followed, curious but cautious, staying close to the humans. When they reached the area, they found something incredible. A larger creature, unlike any they had seen before, was lying among the rocks. It had faintly glowing markings on its skin, and its limbs were twisted. The creature was alive, but it could not move. Jack stepped closer carefully. "Lily, help me with this one," he said. Lily knelt beside the creature, examining its injuries. "This one is older," she said. "It might be a leader. If we help it, the others will follow. We have to be very careful." Ethan prepared the medical supplies. "We can stabilize it, give it warmth and food. It will take time, but we can do it." Ava helped guide the smaller creatures away, keeping them calm while the humans worked. They lifted the larger creature carefully, placing it on a makeshift stretcher. The team moved it to a shelter, making sure it was safe and warm. For hours they worked. They applied healing patches, fed it with nutrient-rich plants, and kept it warm with heaters. Slowly, the creature began to move, its eyes opening and watching the humans. The smaller creatures chirped softly, gathering around. It was clear they recognized this one as important. Jack smiled. "This is why we are here. Humans can help where others cannot. We make a difference by acting with care." As the larger creature recovered, the humans noticed something else. The smaller creatures were beginning to mimic human behavior more clearly. When Jack raised his hand, a few of them lifted their limbs. When Lily moved slowly, some followed her motions. It was clear they were learning, observing, and responding. Lily whispered, "They are not just surviving. They are learning from us. They are watching how we act and copying it. That is intelligence." Ethan laughed softly. "I guess humans can teach even the smallest creatures something important. Maybe patience, maybe care, maybe teamwork." Ava looked at the glowing creatures surrounding them. "They are forming a bond with us. They understand we are here to help. That is remarkable." But the planet still held dangers. While exploring near a rocky outcrop, the team noticed more unstable terrain. Rocks shifted underfoot and a loud rumble echoed through the canyon. Jack called out, "Careful, the slope is unstable." The team moved quickly, guiding the creatures away from falling rocks. Lily held one of the smaller ones close, keeping it calm. Ethan and Ava helped others to safety. Just as they reached solid ground, a rock tumbled down, missing them by inches. Jack exhaled. "That was too close. We have to stay vigilant. This planet is dangerous, but we can manage if we work together." They discovered a small stream nearby, its water clear and cold. The creatures drank eagerly, splashing in the water and glowing brightly. Jack smiled. Even in danger, life finds a way. Lily examined the plants near the stream. "These might be good for their diet. We should gather some and take it back to the shelters." Ethan built small water purifiers using parts from the ship. Ava helped guide more creatures to safe areas. Jack coordinated their efforts. "We are stronger together. Humans can survive and help others even in a strange world." Days passed, and the bond between humans and creatures grew. The creatures began to respond to simple commands and gestures. They moved with more confidence and curiosity. Jack realized that their presence was teaching the creatures not just safety, but also trust and understanding. One evening, while examining the area near the cave they had discovered, Lily noticed markings on the walls. "These are symbols," she said. "They might be from a previous civilization. Maybe these creatures are descendants of a larger species that lived here before." Jack looked at the symbols. "That is incredible. This planet is more complex than we thought. Humans have the ability to help and learn at the same time. That is what sets us apart." Ethan nodded. "We have to be careful, but we also have to study and understand. That is how humans grow." Ava flew the drone over the cave. From above, she saw movement beyond the canyon. A small group of creatures, similar to those they had rescued, was wandering alone. Jack made a decision. We have to help them too. They need guidance and safety. The team moved carefully, approaching the group. The creatures watched from a distance, unsure of the humans. Jack knelt and raised his hands slowly. Lily made soft noises and the creatures began to respond. Slowly they approached, following the humans to a safe area. Lily whispered to Jack, "They are learning from us, but they are also teaching us. Look at how they communicate with each other. They care for one another." Jack smiled. "That is the strength of life. We help, we learn, we survive together." The team spent hours guiding the creatures, helping them find food and water and bringing them to shelters. The glowing creatures were calm now, moving with confidence. Jack realized that their trust was a gift. Humans could protect and guide, but they also had to respect the creatures' own instincts. At night, Jack sat near the larger creature they had healed. It lay quietly, its eyes following the humans. The smaller creatures rested nearby, chirping softly. Jack spoke quietly to the team. "This is why humans are special. We care, we act, we make a difference. That is what HFY is about. We survive, we protect, and we help when we can." Lily nodded. "We are learning from them too. Their behavior is complex. They have family bonds, intelligence, and resilience. Humans are not the only learners here." Ethan added, "But we can teach them patience, caution, and cooperation. That is our gift." Ava smiled. "Even far from home, humans can do good. That is something that cannot be ignored." The next day, the team continued their work. They explored the surrounding areas, looking for more creatures in need. They mapped safe zones, gathered resources, and reinforced shelters. The creatures were more active now, exploring on their own but staying near the humans for guidance. Jack observed them and felt a deep sense of pride. The humans were far from home, facing a strange and dangerous world, but they were making a real difference. The creatures had survived on their own, but human help had given them a chance to thrive. Lily discovered new ways to help. She noticed that the creatures responded well to warmth and light. She used heaters and lights to create comfortable areas, and the creatures gathered around them happily. Ethan built simple devices to distribute food and water automatically, making their work easier. Ava guided creatures to the new areas, using lights and gestures to encourage them. Jack coordinated everything, making sure the humans worked as one. As the sun set, the creatures gathered around the humans. Some rested, some chirped softly, and a few touched the humans gently. Jack felt the bond between them growing stronger. Lily spoke softly. "They trust us now. That trust is powerful. We have to honor it." Jack nodded. "Yes, humans help because we care, we act, we make a difference, and that is the true strength of our species." The night was quiet except for the soft glowing of the creatures. Jack thought about the days ahead. There would be challenges, storms, and dangers, but humans had the ability to adapt, to care, and to survive. And together they could help these creatures flourish. Jack looked at the glowing forms around him. "Tomorrow we explore more, we help more, we learn more." Humans have the courage, the intelligence, and the heart to make a difference. Lily smiled. "And we will, that is why we are here." Ethan added, "Humans never give up, that is what matters." Ava laughed softly. "Even in a strange world, humans can shine." That is something remarkable. And in that quiet moment under the strange sky, humans and creatures shared a bond of trust, care, and hope. A bond that would carry them through dangers yet to come, and a bond that would show the strength of humanity in a world far from home. The morning air was crisp and cold, but calm. The storm had passed, and the planet seemed peaceful for the first time in days. Jack Miller and the team gathered near the shelters, watching the glowing creatures move about. They had grown stronger, more confident, and more curious. The humans had helped them heal, but now it was clear that the creatures were learning, understanding, and forming bonds with each other and with their human helpers. Lily Bennett knelt beside one of the smaller creatures, letting it touch her hand gently. "They are more intelligent than we imagined," she said softly. "They can learn, follow instructions, and even understand gestures. We can help them, but we must also respect them." Ethan Clark nodded, checking the equipment for the day. "We've made shelters, collected food and water, and helped the injured. But there is more out there. We should scout and see if other groups of these creatures need assistance." Ava Johnson prepared the drone for a longer flight. "I'll check beyond the canyon and the cliffs," she said. "We need to know what is around us. There could be more creatures or dangers." Jack looked at his team, pride in his eyes. "Humans help because we care, we act, we protect, and we survive together." That is what we are doing here. Let's make sure we are ready for anything. As the drone flew over the rocky landscape, Ava noticed something unusual. In the distance, a large metallic shape moved slowly over the horizon. She zoomed in, adjusting the camera. Jack, there's something coming toward us. It looks like a ship, not ours, something else. Jack's heart quickened. Stay calm, we don't know what it is yet. Let's observe first. The ship approached slowly, hovering above the rocky terrain. It was unlike anything the humans had seen before, sleek and glowing faintly. The creatures nearby froze, sensing the presence of something unfamiliar. Jack realized immediately that this was more than a natural threat. This was intelligent life. Lily whispered, "It might be the species these creatures belong to or something else. We have to be careful." Ethan checked the shelters and animals. "We can't leave them unprotected. We need a plan." Ava guided the drone closer to the ship. It moved in a way that seemed purposeful, scanning the area. Then a small hatch opened, and figures emerged. They were taller than the creatures the humans had been helping, with glowing markings on their bodies. Their eyes were sharp and intelligent. Jack felt a mix of awe and tension. The creatures huddled around the humans, chirping softly. Jack understood that the creatures recognized these beings as their own species. The humans were outsiders, yet they had earned trust by helping the smaller creatures. Jack spoke to his team quietly. "We have to show we mean no harm. Our actions have saved them so far. Let's continue that. Move slowly and stay calm." Lily nodded. She stepped forward, holding her hands up gently. Ethan followed, keeping close to the shelters and the creatures. Ava stayed back, guiding the drone to record the scene but keeping it unobtrusive. The taller creatures approached cautiously. They examined the humans and the smaller creatures, their eyes sharp and curious. Jack held his ground and spoke softly. "We are here to help. We saved them when they were injured. We mean no harm." The taller creatures communicated with the smaller ones in a series of glowing signals and soft sounds. The smaller creatures responded immediately, gathering near their rescuers. It was clear that the taller beings were trying to understand the humans' role. One of the taller creatures stepped forward, extending a limb slowly. Jack realized it was testing their intentions. He nodded and slowly raised his hand, mirroring the gesture. The taller creature paused, then touched one of the smaller creatures gently. That simple action was enough. It was a sign of recognition and acceptance. Lily whispered to Jack, "They understand. They know we helped. That is why they are cautious but not hostile." Jack smiled slightly. "Humans act with care and courage. That is all they need to see. We help when others cannot." Ethan adjusted the portable lights and heaters, making sure the creatures were comfortable. The taller beings observed, then helped guide the smaller creatures to a safer area. Jack realized they were using the humans' work to benefit their own kind. The humans had earned trust without words, through action. Ava flew the drone above, capturing the entire interaction. "They're cooperating," she said softly. "We didn't expect that, but they are learning from us and we are learning from them." Jack nodded. "This is what humans do best. We act, we protect, and we adapt. That is our strength." HFY is not just about fighting. It's about helping, surviving, and making a difference. The taller creatures began to repair parts of the shelters, using tools that looked advanced. The humans stayed close, offering guidance when needed. Slowly, a working collaboration formed between humans and aliens. The creatures moved freely, chirping and glowing, exploring the improved shelters. Lily examined the symbols on the rocks nearby. "These match markings we saw in the cave," she said. "This species has history on this planet. The smaller creatures are part of their family or colony. Humans helped them survive, and now we are part of the story too." Jack smiled. "Humans survive, humans help, humans make a difference. That is what we can do, even far from home." As the day continued, the humans and the aliens worked together. They repaired damaged areas, reinforced shelters, and gathered food. Jack noticed how the creatures responded to cooperation, following the humans' example of patience and careful work. Ethan laughed softly. "It's amazing. Even here, far from Earth, humans can lead by example. We act, they learn. That is our gift." Ava added, "We didn't just save them. We showed them what teamwork can do. That is the real difference humans make." As night approached, the taller creatures began to glow softly, a sign of trust and calm. The smaller creatures rested nearby, safe and comforted. Jack felt a deep sense of pride. The humans had not just survived on this strange planet, they had saved lives and earned respect. Lily looked at the humans and creatures together. We are learning from them and they are learning from us. That is the beauty of it. Humans can act, help, and guide. That is what makes us special. Jack nodded. Yes, and we have done it without fighting, without conflict. Just care, courage, and intelligence. That is what HFY truly is. The next morning, the humans and aliens continued their work. They explored more of the surrounding area, finding more injured or lost creatures. They guided them to safe areas, healed wounds, and taught them to find food and water. The taller creatures observed, learning from the humans' methods, and then applied the same care to the smaller ones. Jack realized that humans had a unique ability, the ability to inspire trust and cooperation without needing dominance or power. That was what set them apart in any world, no matter how strange or dangerous. Lily smiled at one of the smaller creatures, now glowing brightly and exploring with confidence. They are thriving. That is because humans acted when others might have turned away. That is the heart of humanity, Ethan added, and we learned too. We learned patience, understanding, and the value of working with others, no matter how different they are. Ava flew the drone to capture more of the landscape. She saw that the creatures were now moving in coordinated groups, responding to both humans and their own kind. Jack knew that the humans' efforts had made a lasting impact. By midday, the team had guided all the known creatures to safe areas. The taller beings now communicated with the humans in simple gestures, showing acceptance and appreciation. Jack realized this was the first true contact with an alien civilization, not through technology or weapons, but through care, courage, and intelligence. Jack gathered his team. We came here to explore, but we ended up helping. That is what humans do. We act, we survive, we protect, and we make a difference, even on a planet far from home, Lily nodded. And we learned that life can flourish when given care. Humans can inspire that change. That is HFY in its truest form, Ethan smiled. We survived, we adapted, and we helped. That is all that matters, Ava laughed softly. Even in the darkest and coldest places, humans can bring light. That is something special. As the sun began to set, the humans and creatures rested together. The glowing creatures were safe and curious. The taller beings now trusted the humans completely. Jack looked at them all, feeling the weight of what they had accomplished. They had faced danger, uncertainty, and a strange world, but they had acted with courage and care. Jack whispered softly, "Tomorrow we continue. We explore, we help, we learn. Humans will always act when they can. That is who we are," Lily added, "and maybe one day they will tell their own kind about us, about the humans who came, helped, and taught them how to survive and trust." Ethan nodded. Humans leave a mark not by fighting, but by acting with intelligence, courage, and heart. That is our true strength, Ava smiled. Even far from Earth, humans can shine. That is what makes us remarkable. And in the quiet, under the glowing sky of the distant planet, humans and aliens shared a bond of trust, courage, and hope. A bond that would last, a bond that proved humans could help, survive, and make a difference wherever they went. The humans had left a mark on this world, not through war, not through power, but through care, courage, and the willingness to act when others could not. That was the true story of humanity, far from home, helping those in need.